So I posted a personal finance video a couple weeks ago on my channel, and a couple years ago I posted basically my debt payoff journey, and it did really well and you guys really liked it. And so in today's video, I am going to share 5 more rich girl hacks. Basically 5 things that I do that have really helped me pay off my debt, my student loans, and have a lot of like time freedom and eventually, God willing, financial freedom too. Time freedom, financial freedom, then you get to do what you want to do when you want to do it. So if you're interested in that, then keep on watching. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is debt. Now, debt can be used to make more money, but if you are a newbie, if you are a beginner, and quite frankly, if you're broke right now, I highly recommend paying off your debt before starting any other endeavor. And so I am speaking from my personal experience, and then I also work with a number of financial advisors, accountants, and even finance YouTubers here on YouTube. And across the board, basically, if you can't handle debt and debt handles you, then stay away from it. Now, someone like me, this is just my own personal story, and you can look back at my videos to check this out. I've always had dreams of being financially free and having time freedom. I was like, okay, if I don't get a rich husband, I know that, and I don't have like some kind of trust fund, I know that I want to be able to financially take care of all my needs. And me, I definitely don't want to feel like a slave to debt. I don't want to feel like I have to go into my job or else I'm going to lose the way that I live. So I've always been focused on creating versus consuming. So when I was in college, right when I graduated from USC, woo, go Trojans, I saw that I had $13,000 in student loans and then some more money on credit cards. And that's actually a really tiny amount of debt, especially graduating from a private school like that, especially such an expensive, rich private school. But what I ended up doing was coming up with a plan to pay off my student loans first, and then get work experience, and then start to build wealth and eventually become a digital nomad. So basically, Becca today is living the dream of her 2018-year-old self. If you want me to make a separate video all about debt payoff, then let me know in the comments below. But for today's purposes, the first thing is if you need to get started on that journey, then you want to make a budget, see how much you're spending, you want to see how much you're making. And if you need like some motivation, I highly recommend looking into Dave Ramsey. He has these things called like the baby steps to basically becoming an everyday millionaire. But the beginning of that is to pay off your debt and use something called the debt snowball method. So basically, think of a little tiny baby snowball at the top of a mountain, and as the snowball starts rolling down, it gets bigger and bigger because it collects more snow. Are you with me? Are you with me? So you want to line up your debts, and the smallest debt, so say you have like a credit card for $200 and you have all your other debts, right? But the smallest debt is this credit card. Despite interest rate, don't look at the interest rate, just look at the amount. You want to start putting your extra money towards that smallest debt, and you want to pay it off. And then once that's paid off, say you've been putting an extra $50 a month towards that, then you want to now put that $50 a month towards your next credit card, all while paying the minimum interest on the rest of them. But you basically, starting with the smallest one will give you momentum. So that's like a fast, quick, easy win. So even in marketing and like coaching, you always want to give your students an easy win. It helps trick the brain so that you can keep on going and get your momentum up. The same thing goes with paying off your loans. You pay off the smallest one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And that's what I did. Another option, which was one of my banking friends suggested to me, and I think this could help a lot of people, but is if you consolidate. So basically you can get like a line of credit from a bank or from someone or from something to pay off your other debt, and then you start paying off that one single line of credit. But basically, I'm just gonna say the feeling when you're debt free is just amazing. I remember I was putting like, at that point, because I'd really decreased my expenses and really increased my income, I think I was like fresh out of college, I was paying maybe like $600, $700 a month towards my debt. And once I made that last payment, then that next month, I was able to start putting that money into my savings account. And I filled up my emergency fund, and then I was able to start filling up my future funds, which are like for like your dream projects. So at the time, I really wanted to invest in property. So I started saving money for a down payment for a house. I had never even like looked at a house before to purchase, but I knew that when the time came, I wanted to have the money in my bank account so that I could buy it. And the opportunity came up, and I was able to buy my first property with that money. So instead of your money like going to the government or going to like creditors, that money will start to go towards you in the future. Okay, number 2 is to invest in retirement. So retirement, along with insurance, is probably one of the least sexiest financial things that somebody could talk about. And honestly, one of the least sexiest things to learn about. So I opened my Roth IRA because I was working with a pretty prominent YouTuber at the time when I was in college, and she taught all about personal finance. And she basically told me, like, Becca, if you start investing now in a Roth IRA, at the time it was like $500 a month, and I was debt-free, so I could do this. But if you start investing in your Roth IRA, by the time you're like retirement age, you're gonna have like $1 million or more in there. The crazy thing is, it basically compounds. So if you look at a retirement calculator, if you start when you're 20 years old versus when you're 25 years old versus when you're 30, just that like 5-year increments or that 10-year increment in waiting to invest is a lot of money. So basically, if you're young, start now. The sooner you start, the better, because your money will compound faster. So my little sister's 21. If she starts investing now, then maybe I should pull up a retirement calculator. Stick with me because this doesn't sound sexy, but it is. Okay, so say you're 25 years old and you're making $60K a year, which is a pretty like normal entry-level job. You are already like, you already have like 10K in retirement because your job has like a 401k match or something like that, okay? You're working at a good company. Okay, so say you start putting in $500 a month into like your Roth. Let's calculate that. So by the age of 67, you are going to have $1.5 million in your retirement, which is pretty nice. Okay, so 1.5. Now, let's say you wait 5 years and start investing when you're 30. Same exact numbers, you're making $60K a year, all that kind of stuff. Just by waiting 5 years, now you'll barely have like $1 million in your retirement. So that's $500,000 that you're missing out on because you waited 5 years to start investing. That's not cool. Just Google Roth IRA, choose a company that you trust or that you've heard a lot about, or someone has recommended to you, and start investing in your Roth IRA. Because the thing is, you can only invest a certain amount each year. You can't like play catch up later unless you're like over the age of like 60, then you can put an extra $1,000 a year in it. But by then, you missed out on all the time that you had. So that's the second one. Open up a Roth IRA and put your money in there, girl. These are all the things that I tell my little sister to do, and so I'm recommending it to you because I wish somebody would have told me all of this in one concise video versus me just like having to learn and pick here and there. Okay, so you guys may be wondering, all right, I wanna invest in my Roth IRA, I wanna pay off my debt, but I don't really make that much money. So how am I supposed to put an extra 5 bands into investments? So, number 3 on this list is to increase your financial literacy. Do we know what literacy means? That basically means like how well you can read or comprehend something. So finances, like I said, is kind of like mystical, like convoluted, kind of hard to understand if you're not really in the mix, or if you don't necessarily have like parents or older siblings or a family or like a school who teaches you these types of things. So the first thing I recommend is to increase your financial literacy by reading books and listening to podcasts. A couple books that I recommend is first Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's an amazing one. If you are interested in building wealth, Robert Kiyosaki, despite what you feel about his political views and if he sounds like an a-hole when he talks, despite that, he has some good information about building wealth. So that's the first one. And that's a lot of like real estate investing in general. It may sound big, but people are doing this every day and they're like normal people. They're not like massive investors with tons of money. So read that book, and it's funny too. I feel so bad for his poor dad because he literally calls him poor dad. Okay, so the next book is Dave Ramsey's Money Makeover, which basically, if you are in debt, that's what you're gonna want to listen to. He talks about basically the techniques on how to be weird, which is somebody who doesn't live paycheck to paycheck, somebody who can invest in retirement and then eventually achieve financial freedom or like multimillionaire status. So he has some pretty amazing tips, and I have a couple friends who are doing his program right now. I did his program. Yeah, my other friend, she just has like a couple grand left. I think she just to pay off her car, and then she's completely debt free after taking out literally a bajillion dollars in student loans. So following Dave Ramsey teachings and reading his book also puts you into like a community of other people who are like all into like, I'm debt free, I'm gonna do the debt free scream, hey, all that. Paying off debt and building wealth is actually pretty fun. Now, when it comes to podcasts, my top 2 favorite, I mean, there's tons, but I'm biased a little bit, but Anthony O'Neill's The Table. He's actually one of my clients at Rise Digital, my digital marketing agency. We do all of his like Instagram, YouTube shorts, all that kind of stuff, all the strategy behind social media. But basically, he talks about how to, 1, pay off debt and how to build wealth as well. But it's nice because he highlights tons of different ways on how to increase your income. And we're like how normal people can increase their income. Yeah, that's where he interviews a lot of people on the podcast who are talking about that kind of stuff. And so it's things that you and I can implement. It's not like, oh, this person like won the lottery, or this person's like super skilled already and bam, now they're making $1 bajillion like every single month. Like, it's very tangible and things that anybody can put into practice. So that will help keep you motivated. And he explains things in a way where he kind of like demystifies like these like convoluted financial topics. So he's one. Another one is Graham Stephan. Graham, I love you. He's like just very entertaining and amazing content creator. But he talks again a lot about like living below your means. That's how he got his start. He saved a ton of money, started investing in real estate, and now he's a pretty successful content creator. He's like running the market right now. So these are some examples. Or if you guys want me to talk more about personal finance and share some of the stuff that I learned, because it's one of my favorite topics, then let me know in the comments below and I'll make sure to make more of these types of videos for you. But the third one is increasing your financial literacy so you can actually start understanding this stuff and putting into practice and figuring out what works best for you, your goals, and the life that you essentially want to live. Me personally, I wanted to become a digital nomad, so being able to like travel around the world and live and come and go as I please, but not like bare bones. Like, I don't want to be like scraping up pennies for train tickets. Like, I want to be comfortable. I want to live in a cute apartment. I want to do hydrofacials and get massages and all that kind of stuff. You know, have someone like do my laundry. Like, that's the kind of life I envisioned, and that's what I've been able to work to. And eventually, like, I really wanted to have a successful business that doesn't require all of my time, because I did burn out when I was working my 9 to 5 because I was trying to do everything myself. But now I've learned how to outsource. Like, now, like, being able to like take Fridays off and leave early, and I built an amazing team that I trust to take care of certain things for me so that I can work on marketing, YouTube, building the business in other ways, but only because I don't have that financial stress and financial pressure of debt. See, you want to pay off your debt so you can free up your mind, help so you have an abundance mindset so that money can be going into your pocket and into your investments instead of to the man. Number 4 is a way to save money, a lot of money, and to also be healthy at the same time. Because if you watch my other videos, I believe that, girl, if you want to be sexy, you gotta be healthy. You gotta eat your veggies. You gotta drink your water. You have to get your sleep, right? But if you also want to, do all those things and then also save money, this tip is to eat simply. I love my oysters and my lobster and sushi. I love seafood if you can't tell. Korean barbecue. But this tip is to eat simply, which basically is what comes from the planet. We're talking vegetables, we're talking grains, and if you want to throw it in there, you can add in like meats, like beef and chicken and all that, kind of stuff. But basically, for the financial side of it, it's a lot cheaper when you shop the perimeter of the grocery store, and it's also a lot healthier. Have you heard of the blue zones? The blue zones are basically these places around the world where there's a high concentration of centenarians, aka people who live to be over 100 years old, and they have all these things in common. And there's like one in Loma Linda, California. It's Seventh-day Adventist. There's one in Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy. I think one in Costa Rica, pura vida. And then some other places around the world. But one thing they do is they eat a very nutrient-dense vegetarian diet. For them, it works. They also have these other things that help them live a long time. Look it up. It's amazing. I may do a video on it. Let me know if you want to see it. But when it comes to their diet, they eat very clean and very simply. And let's be real, it's also pretty cheap to eat like that. We're talking oatmeal and blueberries for breakfast, lunch, maybe some kind of like lentil soup or vegetable soup, dinner, maybe you want to throw a protein in there, like have some like cod with brown rice and some kind of veg. And you will notice on the health side that your skin will be glowing. You're gonna be going to the bathroom and detoxing and eliminating in the most epic, easy kind of way. And the thing is, it's also a lot more inexpensive, and you'll probably be eating out a lot less. Quick story time, when I was in college, I did my first budget. I found out I was spending like hundreds of dollars a month eating at Chipotle. Like, I don't even know why, because Chipotle is not even that good. I mean, maybe back then it was kind of hyped up, but when I learned that, I'm like, oh my gosh, do you know how much money in groceries, like how much groceries that could buy? And back then it was a lot more groceries because of inflation. This happened, but I realized cooking at home saves a lot more money, at least in the States. I know when I was living in Bali, it was a lot cheaper to get like a meal prep and sometimes to even eat at restaurants, but mainly meal prep. Versus cooking at home, the grocery stores are kind of expensive. So it just depends on where you are in the world. But usually eating a simpler diet will save you more money so that you can then invest in your Roth IRA. The final tip is to add an income stream. The income stream is basically the money that you have coming in. This is gonna blow your freaking mind, but money is called currency because it's like a current. Think of a river current. Current's moving. Banks keep the money flowing in a certain direction, right? So an income stream, if you are outside of the river of current, right? But you need a little more currency to come your way, then you create a stream. So it's like money, water. Like a water stream, but like money stream. So the idea is you want to create, the more income streams you have, the better. Apparently, these ultra wealthy people have a minimum of 7 income streams. Now, some examples of income streams is 1, earned income. That is like your job. Number 2, interest income, which can be generated from like a savings, like high yield savings account or some kind of like CD where you gain interest on the money that you're loaning to the bank. Number 3 is profit income. So that can come like if you're driving DoorDash, doing DoorDash, babysitting, you have a side hustle, social media marketing. Number 4 is dividend income. So you may invest in like mutual funds, stocks, and they do this thing where they basically pay you for holding for like being a shareholder, which is pretty cool. Number 5 is rental income. So if you save up enough money and you can buy like a property. That's my favorite topic. I bought a property here in California. If you live in an expensive area like California like me, you don't have to buy a property in California, or you can buy property in like the Central Valley or somewhere where it's like more affordable versus like Beverly Hills or like Orange County or San Diego, somewhere coastal. Go more inland, it's more affordable. Or you can go to another state and do the same thing. Okay, so rental income is number 5. That's basically when you have a property, then you can rent out the rooms or rent out the entire house. So say you buy a house and your mortgage is $2,000 a month, right? That's how much you pay to the bank. But all the rents in that area are like, just to rent a house in that area, it costs $2,500. So you get a renter in your house, and that extra $500 is basically like another stream of income. It's like profit, but you're not, we can talk about this later, but like you're not spending that income, you're putting in a savings account for the house for just in case you do maintenance or something. But eventually, once the house is paid off or close to it, then that money can be another income stream. Imagine when the house is paid off, and by then rents will probably be even more expensive because of inflation. So that's an extra like $4,000 like in the future that will be going straight into your pocket or into your children's pocket. So that's another stream of income. Another one, royalty income. So it's basically like, imagine if you're like a photographer. I know there's a lot of photogs on here, or some kind of musician. If someone wants to use your music, then they have to pay like royalties to you. And then number 7 is capital gains. So basically when you are investing in the stock market, for example, and say you buy a stock low, it shoots up and you decide to sell it so you can make that money, then that like income that you made from the increase in price is your capital gains. So that's another one there. And within those categories, there's so many different things that you can do to make money. And I guess I can just share a few that I did in the very beginning. One of them was social media marketing. I had my full-time job, and on the side, I was managing accounts at a very small level, nothing compared to what I'm doing today. But my side hustle basically became my main hustle. You can do like Turo, you can drive Uber, you can babysit, you can do copywriting, you can do some video editing, just finding other ways to increase your streams of income. And basically once you do that, and you are then at a comfortable place where you have your emergency fund, you're debt free, and then you can start saving to invest in something big, so like retirement, property, a business, stuff like that. Alrighty guys, as you can tell, I freaking love personal finance. You can look back at my other videos, and I was probably wearing the same sweater because this is my favorite sweater in some of my other videos. But if you like this topic, then let me know in the comments below, and I will make more of these, because I think that personal finance and financial literacy is something that more people should have access to, because it can literally change the trajectory of your life and your family line and the legacy that you leave for your kids. Like, imagine if your great-grandparents had invested in like 2 or 3 houses during their lifetime, and if yours did, then yay. If they didn't, then we're in the same boat. And then they were able to sell those or give those to you guys and pass it down, and then you would have like this like rental income that now is like, since property went up, you know, you'd be making a lot of money. So you could be that person for yourself or for the future generations. You don't need a rich boyfriend to take care of you, or a rich husband. But if you want one, no worries, because girl, same. Just kidding. Or am I? Alrighty guys, let me know if you want to see more videos like this, and let me know any video requests you have in the description box down below. Okay, bye.